Okay.
Here we are. It took a second. I was thinking about it.
Well, we were thinking about it.
Indeed.
We had lots to think about.
Yeah.
It's Charlotte and Jessica. We have something a little different going on this
mixing
week.
it up.
So that's why we had some little, I don't want to say technical issues because they weren't really. It was like fun stuff to do. So, so anyway, we are coming to you live from Pensacola, Florida. At Aragon Wine Market, our little wine store down here.
Your neighborhood market.
Yeah, I know. We try to get all those neighbors to come in. Neighbors,
hey,
come
neighbor,
on
where
in.
are y'all?
We're looking at you guys. So, what's on deck today? We'll talk just a little bit about that before we get what's going on. And the store is that we've got cocktails today. So if you're not prepared for your cocktails, hopefully you are. You may want to go get some. Make sure you've got your mixers that we talked about, the vermouth and the Capiletti. You're going to want some club soda. You're going to want some fruit,
some garnish,
some garnish, all that kind of stuff. So go ahead and get those ready while we're talking about what's going on at the wine store today. So you'll be ready for your cocktails.
I know. What is going on at the wine store?
Not
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Not much is right.
Not
It's
much.
been a very slow January, very cold and slow January. But it's Valentine's Day, and that's going to be out here before we know it.
That's right.
Hopefully, you guys have been watching the countdown on our Facebook and Instagram and our social media. We are featuring a wonderful item every day that you need to consider for your true love or your bestie or your
galentine.
mom, you know.
Galentine's, that's a thing. Your best friend.
Yeah, so. Which is awesome because, you know, whatever. We all love each other. That's a good thing. So we are doing a countdown. So there's lots of good stuff out there that we've got in the store. There's everything from like an inexpensive little bottle that's got "I love you" all over it, that's super cute, all the way up to some really, really nice champagnes. We just got Dominus in, which is a really nice red. And when I ordered it, I was excited just to get it because I don't get it every year. And when it came in, it was 2006. So it's ready to drink.
It looks amazing.
Or you can save it, but yeah, it's crazy. The other thing that's going in that you can talk to a little bit about is that we've got some private events scheduled.
Busy
Finally,
yes,
it's
absolutely
getting to be that time of the year that we're getting stuff done.
Yeah, and just to speak to that a little bit, we're doing private wine tasting events up to 10 people. And it's a semi-private event. Obviously, the shop will be open during the hours of your reservation. You can reserve for a private event, but there's specific days that's available. But for that private wine tasting, up to 10 people, it keeps it intimate and socially distanced enough. It's just your core group of people. We can pre-select those wines for you. So
you've been working with somebody.
Yeah, education component and pairing the food that they're going to bring in from the caterer. We've got two little groups, going one for a birthday party and one is an alumni group.
Fun.
Yeah, a ladies organization, sorority organization that's a women's alumni group from all over different universities.
This is what Jessica does. I mean, that's her history. She is an event planner, so we're fortunate at Aragon that we have your services available at no extra cost. So
the lady on the phone was like, I don't know if you know how to pair food with wine, or if you do that. I was like, oh, I do that. It's like what I was born for.
We love doing that.
Love doing that.
So if you've got somebody, or an event, we've even had, like, for Valentine's Day, we've had engagements and stuff like that for just two people.
I would love to plan a private wine tasting for a couple where it's literally like the ultimate date night out, where it's private wine tasting. You have a little bit of education component, a little bit of interaction, and then you have a private opportunity to step out in the courtyard and just have some time together. And maybe you go on to dinner at a restaurant somewhere where we've got a reservation for you. But
exactly. There's a lot of good restaurants in town. Troubadour is one of my favorites that's right down the street. You've got to go. You definitely need reservations because it's a very small little event space. Or
it looks so amazing. The new menu looks so good.
They change the menu every month. So
well, I still get the question every week: virtual wine tasting.
Yes.
How does that work? What is that? How do you virtually taste wine? So I thought it might be fun just for a quick second to kind of revisit
Tell
that
us
say,
what you
is
say.
this? How
What do you
does
think
it
it is?
work? What are we doing?
Yeah. So what we do is, hey, Carol's saying hi. So what we do is every week we feature a specific wine. In this case, we're doing cocktails, which is kind of fun. But normally we feature a wine or two different wines. We let you know at the end of this broadcast what it'll be for next. And so we've got something super incredible coming up next week. But you have to wait till the end of this show to find out what it is. But I'm really excited. But so then you have a week to come in and get your wine. Then you come and you join us and we talk about it. And hopefully you'll have questions. Carol Moore just said, good evening, lovelies. All you have to do is type in your question. We have the experts here. We've had winemakers. We've had others in the industry. We've got a
We had a
wonderful
master sommelier
yeah,
on with us for almost an hour and a half, which I'm still astounded there are
Yeah.
less than 250 in the whole world,
yeah.
you know, of master
So,
sommeliers.
I mean, it's like a great opportunity just to talk to people and ask questions of people that you may have, you know, they're not coming to Pensacola, you know, so it's a great opportunity to, well, I mean, and they might, but right now it's a great opportunity to talk to some of these famous winemakers.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty neat. So tune in, you know, stay tuned in to the very end of the show and we'll tell you what we're doing next week. This week, if you didn't see what I've got here, is a little spritz. So
we're mixing it up.
My best friend, Nancy Ford, who lives in Denver, Colorado, was the first one that told me about spritz. And that was years ago. And I was like, well, that's interesting. You know, okay, whatever. I'm drinking Chardonnay or whatever I was into at the time, and which is good. And then I ended up going with her last year, not last year, it was 2019, before everything went to hell, to Rome. I was her plus one, and we drank spritz every day, more than one, usually every day. So I was so excited when we decided to do cocktails and spritz. It's my easy go-to drink if I'm like wondering, like maybe you've just, you know, you drink and you know, you had your wine, you had this, you had that, you're like, what else? I want to have a little something, but I'm not sure what I want tonight or today or anytime actually. A spritz is like that easy go-to, just let's drink a spritz. And I think that's why people like them so much. And if you haven't had one, you definitely need to try them. Definitely. So we are going to go ahead and let's welcome our guest in because she's got a lot more information about spritz.
Start with Fix.
Let's start with Fix. Fix is coming in. Hi. Happy birthday.
All right. And then we've got Nicole. And is it Siani?
It is.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi.
I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's great.
You look really pretty.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We're excited to hear. About all the little cocktails. So, tell us the importer that you work for. Is the name?
Yes. So we are a small importing company called Haus Alpenz, and it is a German name because we started importing products from Austria, very unique, weird Austrian liqueurs made out of nuts and trees and spices. But now we import booze from all over the world. And I always like to say that if you've ever been to a cocktail bar, maybe somewhere like the Kennedy, you drank our stuff. And so we're the guys going out there, going through Italy, going through Germany, going through France, and finding these really unique wines and spirits and liqueurs to bring into the United States. The only problem is we bring in such obscure stuff that no one ever has heard of our stuff.
Yeah.
No one knows what to do with it. So thank you so much for inviting me here to talk to all of your customers in Pensacola. I'm coming to you live from Austin, Texas.
Awesome.
All right.
How's the weather there?
Yeah. What?
Are you cold? Is it cold there? We're freezing here.
It has been cold, but today it jumped up to 80.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it jumped up to the 70s today, but I'm still wearing my sweater. Weird quasi-hot, quasi-cold, humid, but not the New Yorker and Fix is laughing at all of us Floridians because, you know, we bust our coat out at 72 degrees, but.
Well, that's a cool little gig that you got. And so I assume that you've been to Pensacola before, since you mentioned the Kennedy.
I have. I have been to Pensacola. It feels like eons ago.
Yeah.
But this is definitely the longest I've ever been in my life not going to Florida.
Yeah. Well, hopefully soon.
I hope so too.
So the first cocktail we've got tonight is I guess we call it a Capiletti Spritz.
Yeah, sure. We can certainly add the name on. I think the important thing to know about the Spritz is that the Austrians created it during World War I, and they started diluting the Italian wines because they were a bit too bitter for them. So they started spritzing the Italian wines. Spritzen just means to spray in German. So they were spraying, diluting the bitter, stronger Italian wines. And if you think about it, why they were trying to dilute these wines was because they were so used to drinking very, very low ABV style beers all day long. So they needed something to drink during the day. They needed something that they could drink that wouldn't get them totally sloshed 1 or 2 cocktails later. And so they really popularized this style, this category of cocktail. And so what I hope you're going to take away today is that you can spritz anything. If you have anything with carbonation, with bubbles in it, and an aromatized wine, you can make a spritz.
So that was my commentary. We were talking about spritzes. I was like, well, it's Florida. We day drink here.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're on our, boats and on our porches and, you know, with the beautiful weather, when it warms up, we're out, and when it's still sunny out at 7 o'clock or even earlier.
Well, another thing, like, if we're going out that night and, I know I've got miles to go. I don't want to just start with a big old, martini. I might be under the table before we know it. So, for me, a spritz is a great way. Or at the end of the night, when you're like, everybody's still drinking and you don't want to continue with on that path, a spritz is a good way to finish the night, I think, because it's still very low alcohol and you're still able to have something in your mouth and enjoy with everybody else without getting too drunk.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually pulled out a little bit of some cheese and some salami to remind myself we talk about food.
Yeah.
These are really the perfect accompaniment for little snacks as well. So this could be something that could lead into your dinner or that you could also drink with dinner. So to me, it really is this perfect anytime cocktail.
Yeah, agreed. And what did you have on your plate?
Well, actually, a friend brought some salami from Colorado, a little small charcuterie producer. And then this is actually a local cheese guy from Austin as well. This is a goat's cheese, so, a little on the more firm side. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have cheeses here at Aragon Wine Market as well. So a lot of our customers, I don't know, realize that, but we definitely have cheeses that we can pair with different things and that.
Oh, Saturday night I had a surprise chef.
Cheese. Yes, you did.
She had a baby.
I had a surprise toddler with a stomach bug. Well, the toddler wasn't the surprise. The stomach bug was the surprise.
So I closed down, and so Saturday night I went into the refrigerator in Aragon's refrigerator, grabbed my salami, grabbed my cheeses, grabbed some crackers, and dinner was served. So tell us a little bit about like the proportions on the spritz.
Yes, let's talk recipes. So,
well, ladies, if you don't mind, I want to just take one little step back because when I say aromatized wine, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, what?"
We're kind of stumbling through this today. We normally have our platform. I feel like that we roll through. We know what our questions are, and we're like, how to approach this, and we're like, so cocktails. It's a whole new world.
That's awesome. Thank you for taking us a step back because that's exactly, because a lot of these, I know what it looks like. I've drank it before. I owns it, but I don't know exactly how it's made. I don't know anything about that. So let's get to the basics.
Yeah, and we'll just do the basics. Everybody out there, bottoms up, start drinking, pour some Capiletti in a glass with some ice and pour something bubbly over it while I talk, and we'll get into some more nitty gritty here. So I use the term aromatized wine, which I always like to say is a very unsexy term. So a lot of times I use the word aperitif instead, especially back in my restaurant days. I'd never use the word aromatized wine at a table. Never a better way to put somebody to sleep. So, but what this category really is, it's a very broad term for a category full of aperitifs. And it is a wine that's been fortified. So there's been some spirit added to it. So a distillate, a grape spirit usually, a little bit added to the wine, and then tons of herbs, spices, leaves, tree bark, flowers, fruits, coffees, under the sun. These are made all around the world. So there's all these regional specialties of things that they put into these wines to macerate it. And so every producer, every region has their own recipe.
Yeah.
I like to say it's a secret. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Dolan, and your secret recipe. We've been importing them for 15 years. They still won't tell us everything in it.
That's hilarious.
So they all have their own recipe of what they're going to macerate in here. And so what we're going to start off is a red bitter, and it's probably backwards. I couldn't figure out how to flip my screen, but this is Capiletti Aperitivo. The Capiletti are 5th generation Magdalena and Luigi making this right now. And a red bitter is just a really generic term for a red aromatized wine or aperitif that's been bittered. And this is red, not by red number 4, like most of them are. This is naturally colored using carmine or the cochineal bug. And it excretes this red acid. And so that's what's used to darken this up. And we are going to pour this, we're going to pour this in the glass. And what I really want you to understand is, yeah, we can get our jiggers out. We can get all cocktail crazy here. We can do that. Or we can just sort of eyeball.
That's what we did.
Yeah, it depends what kind of mood you're in, who you have coming over. You could use if you wanted to make a big batch, you could pull out your measuring cups and use those and just pour into a big pitcher or measuring glass. But so I'm just going to eyeball it. I eyeballed about an ounce. I'm going to put some ice. Now I'm being real fancy here using some using some tongs for my ice. I'm trying to show off for you guys. If you weren't here, I would be grabbing with my hands, but I'm going to pretend that I'm serving somebody this cocktail. So I'm going to use my tongs. All right. I like to really fill it up just so it's nice and cold. A little tip is when you get home from Aragon, you can just throw these bottles in the fridge so they're already cold for you. Yeah. And then here in Texas, we don't really do much without adding Topo Chico to it. So at this point, I've got my aromatized wine, and I'm going to add my carbonated beverage. It truly can be anything, but what I'm going to make is just your very straightforward. Some may say simple, but I think this has a lot of complex flavor to it. And again, I'm just going to eyeball it. I'd say I maybe poured about 3 to 4 ounces in there. Mm-hmm. Okay, here I'm going to show off. I'm going to stir. I didn't have another spoon.
Ah, nice.
You can use any spoon you want. It does not have to be a fancy bar spoon.
Are you sure we don't have to? Because that's really pretty sexy.
Definitely.
And then I think the magic comes in here. Now, if you didn't go to the store and you don't have any citrus with you, no one's going to die. It's okay. But I think that things really turn up when you add a little bit of citrus to it. So you can do that a couple ways. You can take a zest. And if you've never zested a fruit before, just grab your knife and you want to take just a little bit of the colored part of the rind. That's where all the oils live. Mm-hmm. And you just want to take a little piece off. And then you're going to flip it upside down. So you're going to have the skin upside down. And you're going to kind of pinch it.
Pinch it.
I have 2 kids under 2, so I think I might start saying things like a little kid here too.
Oh no, yeah, it happens.
And then you're gonna pinch it, and you're just gonna do a little squeeze, And you're gonna get all those oils in the glass, and really, really need some Willy Wonka smell-o-vision right now, because my whole kitchen smells like grapefruit now, just from that little expression.
And we're using orange in ours.
That's great. I really explore what fruit you like.
Yeah.
Orange is gonna give you just some different aromas, obviously from the orange. It's gonna give you a little bit of a different bitter sensation, just like lemon or even a lime. I really want to take it crazy town. Swath, as the bartenders like to say.
Oh, yes.
Throw it in there.
I didn't touch that.
You can also cut your fruit, and like the ladies did, you can cut your fruit and you can put a whole nice wedge in there. And actually, that would be adding a little bit of the grapefruit juice and really enhance the cocktail. I love throwing like a half wheel of grapefruit in this guy.
And so when I make mine at home, I do just like you did, but I do like a big wedge of orange, throw it in there, and maybe if I've got my little muddler or whatever, or straw sometimes, or whatever it may be, just to kind of break that up and everything. And also I will say that we use the Sarnetto Prosecco in ours tonight too. Like you said, you can use whatever, whether it be club soda or Prosecco, or a combination of both. You can use either one or all of it, any of it, right?
Absolutely. I love sparkling wine in my spritz. It's going to add even more acidity. It's going to add more great flavors. And I say more because this is made from wine. So you're already getting a lot of natural acidity in the Capiletti. But so you're just going to add more depth to it by using the Zartner sparkling wine.
Yeah. I think that's, I think people don't realize, like, the fruit really is part of the cocktail, where sometimes you just think, oh, I'll just do a little gin and tonic or whatever the case may be, and you add a little gin, you add a little tonic, and there you have it. But anything, like any kind of fruit, just adds up, like you said, a whole nother layer of complexity to your cocktail. And so don't stop, don't just stop.
I think from a Pensacola standpoint, if that's something that, you said specifically to Kennedy, and, me just taking a step back and thinking about kind of the introduction of the craft cocktail world to us here, a few years ago, we've kind of come up, in the food scene to some degree. And so, 5.5 Bar that was next to Vinyl.
That was the first one.
That was the first one where you watch somebody smoke a glass, and you watch somebody do
whiskey bar now.
Now Old Hickory Whiskey Bar, amazing. They're one of the top 100 whiskey bars in the country. To have that here in Pensacola is outstanding. The Kennedy, also amazing. Still, Katie Garrett, props to her. She's actually got a master's in anthropology, but just loves, loves bourbon, and is an amazing human. And I've loved watching her businesses grow, but it's fascinating to see, the nuances of stirring it with that giant spoon, and the smoking of the glass, and you don't have to have all of those things when you're making them at home for yourself, but my goodness, it's so sexy and amazing and fascinating, and there's something I don't know, intriguing about the work that goes into it, the detail that goes into it, the expertise that goes into it. And it's not just about measuring exactly, per se. It's just about the care that goes into the cocktail itself. And I always look at these bottles of vermouth and have no idea what to do with them.
Yeah,
and
that's why I'm so glad we're doing this.
So when we decided to do this, I knew what a spritz was, but I didn't actually know what it was, because I didn't know what went into it. So it's fun to kind of tap into that a bit further. This
Also,
Capiletti is 1906. Do we want to talk about a few more tech points on that? What goes into it?
Tell us a little bit more
what
about
are
the
the
Capiletti
aromatics
family.
and some of the flavor profiles and things that we're tasting with it?
Yeah, so with the Capiletti, like I said, it is wine-based. So you're working with some Alto Adige grapes. We're over in Northeast Italy. And there's a lot of orange in here. So you'll get some citrus. People tend to get a little bit of a kind of cacao-ish type of note. The plants in there are really two of the typical varieties you will see. There is some gentian in there, which is a plant in the Artemisia family. It's the same plant that you'll find wormwood under, which you'll find in all vermouths. You'll find also a little bit of quinine in here too, which is something if you've had tonic water, you've had
I did
quinine
pick up on
before.
that.
That is from the quinquina tree, and they will harvest the bark off the tree and macerate that in the wine. So you're getting these really delicate, bitter notes. There's also some sugar. So this isn't just an attack on the palate. This is a nice balance of bitter and sweet. I think I want to segue over into vermouth. We touched on it.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Vermouth being coming also from a German word, which is vermouth, which means wormwood. And so wormwood is this plant, and they take the leaves off of the plant, and they add a nice little, what I think of as a pretty, very delicate little bitterness. This is
Say that again. I'm sorry. We can say that again for me.
Vermouth has wormwood macerated in it, and the wormwood just lends this very pretty, very delicate little bitterness to it. So again, even though this is an aperitif, this awakens the palate, there's bitter plants macerated in here. These are not attack the palate bitter products. They all have their own balance of sweet and bitter to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the Dolin Rouge is, to me, hands down the most versatile vermouth in the world. And I make such a grand statement because by definition, the wine police, as I like to say, the AOC, the EU, regulates Vermouth de Chambéry. This is a region in France. They regulate this to make sure that it still has this very authentic taste of the region, which is this very delicate, fine finesse of a vermouth. This is not your Italian or Spanish styles that tend to be big and burly and can overly consume a cocktail at times. This is
so interesting.
That's just refined and elegant. So I think anyone diving into the home bartending world should have Dolin Rouge because it's the most all-purpose vermouth you can have. You can find any cocktail on the internet or in a book and use Dolin Rouge as a sweet red vermouth that it's called for, whatever cocktail it is. You can use the Dolin Rouge, and the cocktail is really going to sing. It's really going to shine. Other vermouths might be so big that you have to adjust the equation. You have to adjust the proportions a little bit. Or it just doesn't work, and you think you just don't like the cocktail.
So, so by Dolin Rouge, I assume there's a Dolin Blanc.
There is, and there's also a Dolin Dry. And so the difference between those are mainly sweetness levels. So the Dolin Dry is the driest.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dolin Blanc, you'll have a bit more sweetness to it. And then Dolin Rouge is the sweetest. Another thing that you'll notice is the color. Dolin Dry and Dolin Blanc are both clear.
Mm-hmm.
Dolin Rouge has this dark color, and I'm going to actually go ahead and pour it in this glass.
And by the magic of TV, we've got one too.
Da, 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 da.
Thank you, production coordinator.
Yes.
You are going to, again, you can eyeball this. I'd say about a hefty ounce. I just poured the Dolin Rouge straight into the Capiletti Spritz. I have now made a classic cocktail called the Americano.
Okay. So, if anybody's got, so hopefully everybody's got at home. So we were going to say hi to Felicia as saying greetings from North Carolina, and Blake is saying hello as well. And he said he's got a question. Is the Rouge more versatile than the Dry?
It depends what kind of cocktails you like. If you are more of a martini drinker, and like things that are really light and fresh, you're going to go the Dolin Dry route. I love Dolin Dry with a big lemon wedge, a lot of ice, and maybe just the tiniest little splash of club soda on any day over 80 degrees. I love the Dolin Dry in a 50-50 martini. Half Dolin Dry, half gin or vodka of your choice. The Dolin Rouge is if you like things that are a little richer, a little denser, maybe you're a Manhattan drinker, well, then you're going to crush the bottle of Dolin Rouge if you drink Manhattans all day.
For sure.
Really
so just a Manhattan, easy Manhattan.
Yeah. So it just depends on what kind of drinks you like to drink.
And the Dolin Blanc, just because I'm a Blanc fan, a vermouth that's a Blanc fan, or Bianco, could you drink that straight, or either one of these, any of them? Can you just drink them straight over ice?
Absolutely, you can. I was going to mention that when we get to Coqui Torino, but you can certainly drink all of these over ice with just a twist. The Dolman Blanc tends to be sort of like,
what twist for the Americano? Sorry, we
I kept the grapefruit in there, which I love. You convinced me when you were talking earlier, you convinced me that the fruit is such an integral part of a spritz. So I went ahead and cut some grapefruit and I dropped it in. And so now I have a piece of grapefruit. So I got some of the lovely acidity from the juice of the grapefruit. And I just kept that in there. And if you wanted, you could maybe do a lemon twist. But otherwise, you can run with
that grapefruit and lemon, but I'm going to go with the grapefruit since your first suggestion was that.
The grapefruit is awesome with the Capiletti. The grapefruit really makes the Capiletti shine quite a bit. And also, we were talking about like drinking vermouth on its own. The Dolan Rouge vermouth is a really, really terrific on its own vermouth to just drink as a aperitivo on its own. Even on the back of the bottle, I think they recommend drinking with like charcuterie and stuff like that. It's got a great herbaceous note to it, like little bits of thyme and like garrigue and like rosemary and things like that. Like there's these like really delicate little herbaceous notes that make it like really good to have with charcuterie. Also, if anybody's cooking with some old school French cookbooks like Julia Child, you'll see a lot of calls for. But if you see, there'll be a lot of recipes that call for vermouth. And I'm not saying you should just cook with your vermouth, but if you're going to have a bottle of Dolan and make it as versatile as it can be, it's a really great wine to incorporate not just into your cocktails, but into your cooking, into your, just and Nicole was mentioning martinis. You can use the Rouge in a martini and in a Martinez. So if anybody wants to have some old school original martinis, you can use this in a Martinez. It's delicious with some Old Tom style gin to give you like a really nice throwback cocktail. So, just the long and short of it is vermouth is extremely versatile and you'll find a lot of uses for it, I think, very easily.
We were just commenting on the fact that the addition of the fruit changes the dynamic of the flavor almost completely, like not completely, but it opens it up so much, adding in the grapefruit and just adding that element to it. It really does change the flavor profile, and it's definitely something that.
Well, and we're not even using a lot. We're just using the twist with it, and
absolutely.
Even just that does. If you're going to put a big wedge or anything like that, of course you expect it to, but even just the twist makes
just
it.
the twist.
I'm just smelling.
Having
it on my hands.
The citrus oils and elements pick it up. Fix. You were talking about the vermouth and these being so good. Spell the brand of vermouth.
Carol's asking. Thank you, Helen. Helen likes Capiletti. I do too. It's my new favorite. But I hadn't tried this Dolan. Dolan is spelled. Thank you, Carol. DOLIN. Just that. That's it. So let's show you. Let's show her the bottle. Yeah. Yep. So that's the Dolan, and we have it here in the store. It's beautiful, French looking.
And it was it the first, Nicole? The first, or is it the only of the region? There was some specification. I remember when I was typing the newsletter that now, of course, is escaping me, but it was the first, and it is like the epitome of the region, or what are the specs on the history?
Yeah. So they were really the first.
Mm-hmm.
They have a little quarrel about who invented Blanc vermouth, but we'll save that for another day. They were the first, and they are still regulated by the the EU in this case. And then the other fun fact is they've been consistently making their product for 200 years. So that's quite a feat.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
there are other Chambéry vermouths, though, just so there's no confusion. There are other Chambéry vermouths.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's delicious and such a beautiful bottle as well. So I just probably, I mean, a few years ago, even, you know, being in the business, really started drinking vermouth and on its own, because you think of it as something that is always added to martini, or
Yeah,
it's
it was
added
never
to
something that I thought you could drink on its own. It was something I saw sit in my grandparents'
cabinet.
that at holidays they drank their
Yeah.
martinis
Yeah.
with, and I'm pretty sure it was the same bottle for an extended period of time. I don't know that it was cold or ever had been chilled.
That's a question. So
Let's-
how long do these last once you open a bottle?
So there's quite a big range. The herbs and the fortification really help the longevity of these wines, of these aromatized wines. So certainly not a couple days like a regular bottle of wine. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on the product. Really, the more herbs and the darker the color, that's sort of my little trick. The darker the color,
Oh, okay.
the longer it lasts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And for everybody at home, go ahead and just throw these in the refrigerator after you open them.
That's
Now-
what I was going to ask. Should they be refrigerated?
Yeah, and that'll really give some good longevity on these. Again, they're already self-preserved from the fortification and the herbs incorporated in there, but you'll even help bump it a little bit longer of a time. And that was a great suggestion about Michael. If maybe it's not quite as fresh as you'd like it to be, I mean, I don't make anything with tomato sauce that I don't deglaze with a little Dolin Rouge. So I'm constantly using them to cook as well. And
Well,
then
that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, you can use these not just to drink, but definitely for cooking as well.
the cocktails are endless as well. Right here, if I added gin to the story, so I'd have a Dolin Rouge, Capiletti, and gin, I'd have a Negroni. If I added whiskey here, I'd have a Boulevardier. If I had the sparkling wine here instead, I'd have a Negroni Spagliato. So there are endless combinations of cocktails you can create with just these two products.
That's incredible.
Amazing.
So getting kind of back to just like, I mean, I again don't know. I know about wine. I don't know about these. Are they, like, when you say when herbs and all that, are they made in barrels just like wine is made?
Yeah. I'd say stainless steel tanks, sure, are the most common. But you certainly, when I'm in Spanish regions around Barcelona, I've seen old wooden vats there that they age the vermouth in. But for the most part, it is steel tanks. And yep, you just got a whole lot of wine macerating in there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very interesting. This has been super helpful. So I think we've got one more cocktail.
Yeah, we've got one little last one that I want to talk about. Maybe we're talking a lot about sort of these entry-level steps into making cocktails at home. But I wanted to make sure that we have something of interest for maybe some people out there who have been making drinks, can make a Manhattan blindfolded with one hand tied behind their back. I wanted to introduce another sweet red vermouth. And you think, do I need 2 sweet red vermouths? Well, you probably do if you're watching this for this long.
If you have to ask yourself that question, then yes is the
Probably
answer.
do.
That's always my go-to.
So Cochi Vermouth di Torino, this is the Bava family. And this is another family we've been working with for about 10 years, and they've been producing their vermouth for, it's almost about 150 years. What I really love about the Cochi products is that they are winemakers. And so all of the grapes that go into the wine, are grapes that they've produced there. So these are all estate grapes that they've tended to the vines, and they're all local indigenous varietals to the region, which we're talking about Piedmont here. So this is 100% Moscato. From there, they macerate a ton of very vegetable forward ingredients to really give you this incredible complexity and really this sort of yin and yang going on. You get a lot of like the fruit and the floral from the Moscato, and then you get a lot of sort of spicy and baking notes and vegetal kind of tang.
Yeah.
Out in here.
It's a lot going on.
Incredibly complex.
And yeah, you're right. You do need two red vermouths because they're totally different.
Absolutely.
One's so subtle and one's so slap you in your face.
Mhm.
So I really love to just pour this in a glass with ice, or maybe if it's a really cold night, you can just have it neat and add a twist to this. I love an orange twist with cookies.
Okay, we got orange
That is
here.
my favorite. I'm gonna add a lemon twist to this one though, for tonight. You can always switch it up, but I will say my favorite is an orange. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of the twist in here. And that's it. You can just drink this on its own.
I will throw in a little thing here with Nicole that Nicole and I talked about this week. Maybe it was last week. The weeks all run together in this 2020, 2021 time. But I like Coqui Torino with Topo Chico lime. I'm telling you, you get yourself a little highball action. This stuff with some Topo Chico lime, it's like, it's legit.
So
It'll blow your mind.
That's what I love. I always buy that. I love to, that's my sparkling water, my soda water, my liqueur. But that versus a club soda, Topo Chico is mineral water, right? Sparkling mineral water, and club soda is club soda. Are they the same? Are they different?
No, they're different, but I mean, because mineral water is sourced, is usually from a source, like Pellegrino or Topo Chico is usually from a source where there's a mineral component to it. But that lime with this tastes like the cream soda that you've always wanted in your entire life. I'm telling you, you need to do it. You need to do it. Have it for breakfast in the next couple of days. That's what I do. I have it for breakfast.
Sunday. You're out.
No, I'm in the wine biz. I have it on a Monday. That's how I drink my Topo Chico.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I also really love spritzing the Coqui Torino with some ginger beer or ginger ale, really whatever you have around the house. But I love the ginger notes that are added into this glass. It just really pumps up the spice level. And we at work used to call we'd call it a shift drink. I still kind of call it a shift drink. Again, it's just because it's low ABV, it's refreshing. This can go with any kind of food you want or no food at all. But this is just to me the one that really kind of hits you in the face and really perks you up.
We have in the store Big Jerk soda, which is made here locally in Pensacola. So we have their ginger beer. We have their assorted soda flavors, but we were able to pull this to mix with it, and it's natural pure sugar cane made here locally in Pensacola. Certainly exceptional ginger beer. It's got a little bit of sediment because it's just like an amazing.
It's all natural. And that's what they've done. But
That's awesome to pair with it.
That sounds great.
So you mentioned it pairing with food. I've really struggled pairing cocktails in general with food. I mean, I'm from the wine business, and so and I love my cocktails, but I usually have one either before or after, and it's hard for me to pair it with food. What kind of foods would you pair with this?
Well, if you think about what pairs with food and wine, you take those same exact principles and you just apply it to a cocktail. What really gets turned upside down and why you end up having a difficulty, and most people, including myself, including bartenders around the country, is because drinks end up being made so intense, either a lot of booze in them or a lot of sugar in them.
Flavor, just so much overpowering.
So it becomes too challenging because the drink itself is so big in so many different ways that it can't pair with food. That's why I really love this broad category of aperitifs, because they're made from wine.
Yeah.
They already have all of these herbs and flavors in them. So you just pick out something you like and run with it. We have a wine-based Amaro called Vesuvio. It's also by the Capilettis. And they have some blueberry juice in there. And so I love pairing that wine-based Amaro. It's only 17% alcohol, so it's really delicate. I love pairing that with a blueberry dessert, whether it's maybe like a panna cotta or some kind of like lemon curd pie with a little bit of blueberries on top. So it's the same, it's really the same principles as you're pairing with wine. You just have to make sure you're choosing something that has a little bit lower alcohol and isn't a sugar bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, because I think around here when we do, like I've seen some of the restaurants will do cocktail dinners and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know how that's going to work, but that makes more sense when you put it that way. So, yeah, delicious. I mean, all these have been so wonderful tonight, and I think, like you said, the gist of it is you can spritz anything.
Yeah. Well, and when you go to, and we can certainly post it on our social media or, send it out again in our newsletter. When you go to the Haus Alpenz website, and even just going to Capiletti, there were 36 recipes that the website alone named as identified recipes that could be made with Capiletti. And that was one of the producers that was represented as part of their import. So I could only imagine the varying degrees of concoctions that can be made with all the other wonderful things items that they have. So if you go to their website and go to Haus Alpenz, and again, we could share it on our social media and
for sure.
Our newsletter, but like they have so many cocktails and recipes listed where you can see exactly what you can do with these if you're, lacking for ideas or interests.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Awesome.
Alpenz.com. We are really proud of our website, so thank you for giving a shout out. It's been years and years in the making, and all those recipes are from us. They're either classics or bartenders have submitted the recipe, and we've made the cocktail, or we know it's good because we've had it at the restaurant, or it's been drinks that we've made ourselves. So this is
the master glossary is insane. I don't even know how many pages it was. I stopped at like 16 and was like, okay, I've absorbed what I can. I think I'm still in like the C's through the alphabet.
Well, and that's the thing. We wanted to put out some of these recipes beforehand, but there was like,
there's so many.
There's like a lot. So
I don't even know if people know what a spritz is. So
yeah, and I think that the gist for us was good. So we just posted the recipe link on this post. So if anybody's interested, please just pop on that. And I'm sure you're interested. There's lots. There's tons of recipes.
Dozens.
But yeah, for sure. So thank you so much for joining us. We hope that
Nicole.
we see you, Nicole, here in Pensacola. When things get back to normal. I've been saying that for a year now, I think, but hopefully we will see you back here soon, and maybe we can do some in-house cocktails for everybody in the store.
We will supply all the bar supplies and all the accoutrement needed to do the fancy swirl with the big spoon.
Certainly. I would love that. And if things don't go back to normal too soon, we can have a whole hour on cocktail pairings and pairing food and aperitifs.
Love that.
Yes.
I mean, let's just go ahead and play on that.
I know, right?
Because honestly, when we get back to normal, and we still are having things, we kind of want to. This has been such fun. We may not do them every week, but we may do them every month because people have really enjoyed them. And I do think it's just something that we want to continue to do going forward in the future. So we would definitely love to have you back with a cocktail food pairing class.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for representing our producers so well. We really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye. Have a good night.
Stay safe. So it was really cool. Oops, it's just.
Wait.
No.
No.
Oh, no, it's
Oops,
just
wait. Oh my gosh, I hit the wrong button. No, where is fix? My
There's
bad.
Fix. So that was super cool. I learned a lot. I feel like we could still learn a lot more.
Oh, so much.
Just because, again,
it was like uncharted territory. I didn't know where to go.
I didn't even
what to
even know
ask
what questions to ask. It's like that weird girl that's coming into the wine store that's like, they ask the weirdest questions because they have no idea what questions to ask. And I was like, I felt like I was that girl. Like, I don't really know. Wormweed? What's that?
Wormwood.
I know. So
Yes.
it's kind of like, but we did, okay. So Blake said we both love the idea of learning more, and I'm like, thank you, Blake.
Yes, definitely.
We also love the idea of learning more. I do love vermouth. What I've tried of it, I don't know anything about it, so I do think this was a good scratching of the surface.
For sure. I had no idea. Like I said, my concept of vermouth was the epitome of what I said. Something that was a tiny splash in a martini. Definitely not something that was consumed over ice.
I did like I have had an Italian Bianco that I love over ice. And so I have, but it's not something I always go to.
Sure.
We also have a good friend from Germany who has something that he brings in called Ratsputz. And if you've ever had like a super German, what is a German wine that's called? It's like a Jägermeister. If you've ever had Jägermeister, it's kind of like Jägermeister on steroids. They always say Jägermeister is for boys, Ratsputz is for men. And so he brings it, his mom brings it when she comes to visit. And so we always get one taste of it every year. And if you don't drink it carefully, it comes down and comes right back up. So that's my experience with
that's
German.
not Jaeger.
Yeah, it's worse. It's Jaeger on steroids, so it's even worse. But
well, before we move on, I feel like
Yes.
there's a very important thing that we need to highlight today.
Yes.
And so we just want to say happy birthday to
happy birthday,
Michael
Monsieur
Fix.
Fix. It
And
is
Josh is working on something. But
yes. So so Fix. Josh is getting stuff going up there. I hope. So
I don't know that I'm going to sing. I might sing, but
well, we probably aren't going to sing because nobody wants to hear us sing.
you
But it is Michael Fix's birthday today or yesterday.
Mhm.
We're celebrating today.
He's
We've
the
got
big
some
25.
balloons. Kara Moore says happy birthday. We've got a few little nut and butt cakes, and thank you, Tara.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nothing but cakes, adorable little cakes.
We got them little cakes, and so happy birthday, Michael Fix. Yeah, and what is it? Which of the cocktails goes best with the birthday cake?
All of them.
Awesome. Well, I think that's wonderful. And so blow out your candle and happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Michael Fix has been very instrumental. We've been doing these. Thank you, Felicia. Felicia says happy birthday, Fix. We've been doing these virtual wine tastings for
Almost a year.
close to a year now. And we could not have done them without Michael Fix. He has done such a good job for us. We really, really appreciate his work. Every month he's made
a constant brainstorming session to keep us going and challenge us to keep it fresh. And the objective is to how do we represent these amazing family-owned and operated beautiful wineries and vineyards around the world, and
the
bring
most
these
interesting
wines
people.
And the most interesting people, and bring them
Was
to our
that two
beautiful
together?
customers.
What was those two together?
That was a double fisting moment.
Oh man!
So happy
You're crazy.
birthday!
All
Yeah,
right.
we're gloating. So what are we doing next week? Enough about you, Fix. We're done. Birthday's over.
Oh, so what are we doing? Some Spanish wines next week.
No.
Yes.
Aaron.
No, that's 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah. Aaron, we'll just leave that hanging there for a little bit. But we have we haven't done a lot of Spanish wines. We've done a lot of California wines. We've done a fair amount of French wines. We haven't done a lot of Spanish wines.
No,
And,
JC joining us.
And JC loves Pensacola.
Oh,
so
JC, he loves the girls in Pensacola.
says you. I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything more about that. But I know we're gonna do some Gran Reserva Rioja, which is a really tremendous value too. I mean, a Gran Reserva for under $30, I think. So here at the store, and that's great from a producer that's been making wine for over 100 years. And then we're actually gonna do a Chacolina. It's just a fun thing to say. Chacolina, which will be a fun white wine from a very, like little known region. So it's a really fun way to experience something that's a little different than doing your, standard Albarino or whatever. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to have I think we're going to have 2 guests on there. I think JC will be there, and then we'll have one other person actually on there too. So a lot of voices in the room. So.
Oh Lord.
Which will be fun. It'll be fun.
No, it'll be awesome. We're real excited. And Spanish is, so a lot of times people ask me like, well, what's the best bang for your buck? And I honestly think Spanish wines still are my favorite best buy wines. And so they are more known for their reds, the Grenache or Garnacha and Tempranillo and those sort of wines, but they have some wonderful whites as well. So I'm excited to maybe if you've never had a Chacalina, you have to do it like that, apparently.
Absolutely.
And I hadn't had one for, thanks, Carol Moore says, she says, very fun and informative. Thank you. I was like,
You put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
That's what I get for reading out of the corner of my eye. But so anyway, thanks, Carol. But so it should be a fun show. JC is lots of fun. He's a big old Spanish interesting. I don't even know what to say at this point. He's JC.
Well, so, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, you got to tune in. And then I guess I kind of popped the cork on AA Ron, which is the following one, but we didn't really give it away. So come back for that one too.
Yeah,
that's gonna be fun. So, all right. So you guys, thanks, Fix.
Definitely.
We'll see you next week, and happy birthday.
And don't forget, you have about a week and a few days until Valentine's Day.
That's right.
Chop chop.
Everybody.
That's right. All right. Have a good week.